They're all dead. Don't have to wait this time, 'cause I'm giving up on my sense of control.
Slam Pigs podcast never felt so goddamn weird to say, because even though it's coined Slam Pigs, you see the logo in the playlist on the channel. It's a wrestling-centric episode, again, like Slam Pigs usually does. I'm not joined by my co-host on Slam Pigs for this, our biggest post-show of the year. I'm joined by my co-host from my video game podcast, the Reset Button Tannen. Not really filling in the shoes, because you were going to be like the backdoor guest anyway.
Yeah, I'm not the encyclopedia that Michael is, but
yeah,
I did enjoy.
You're like a highlights magazine compared to him when it comes to pro wrestling knowledge. Not even that. Thank you for being my co-host for this on Slam Pigs. This is Bizarro Land, man. Fuck it, we have so many people on here with us. The ship is full. Army Métis, we're talking about pirates today.
Theme. Fucking why not?
There's the poop deck is swabbed because Kite Man is here. We've got reunions. We've got pallies. We've got artists. We've got pro wrestling. We've got fans back in attendance for the first time. 1 year, 1 month, 1 day, pal. They said that about 50 fucking times. So night 1, you didn't see night 1. This is night 2 post-show Wrestlemania 37. Tannen, where can everyone catch us? You and me, real quick, because everyone's got to get their shit in as fast as possible.
You can catch the both of us, like you already said, at the Reset Button with
Combo Meal
Ken and Travis. And this usual thing that we're doing right now. You can normally not catch me on Slam Pigs. However, if you do want to view me personally, you can see me at Tannen's Bum on Twitter and at the HibickyTMD as far as Travis goes.
That you never use.
I was on it earlier.
And your official Hibicky TMD merch, unionsmack.bigcartel.com. But don't get too comfortable with that name and that domain. Things may be a change in this late spring, early summer. Be on the keep a weather eye on the horizon for all that. And as always, over on this man, Broken Optics on Twitch, doing future shows. Not things that are new, though. Been doing streams with him and the lads and the ladies for the past year or so. The Melee started as Monday Night Melee. Over Broken Optics on Twitch. OpticDecay is in the house.
Yes.
WrestleMania post show. How's it going? Where can everyone catch you?
I'm a little tired. I'm mostly just hanging on fucking Twitter, just dropping dumb bullshit all the time. So yeah, I'm doing stuff.
Stuff is good. Stuff can be good.
A lot of plugs today. Yeah, I mean, sometimes stuff will lead to stuff, and then other stuff will happen, and then more stuff. I don't know. I got nothing. I saw fucking Dick Van Klondike's tweet about Hulk Hogan dressed like a pirate because he likes to say the hard R.
Jeez. I still think it's pirate.
You got to draw that.
It fucking threw me. It was just like, oh.
I still think he looked like a McDonald's pirate, especially the hat.
Yeah.
He
There's
did.
supposed to be an arch on that.
They had like fries instead of feathers on his hat.
He looked like he was stealing McNuggets. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on,
Hey-
he was
hey,
the
Travis.
Silver's guy.
Hey, Travis,
Yes.
you might want to check YouTube because I'm in the chat right now and they say we're not live. It doesn't show that we're live.
This wasn't meant to be live. Another video is premiering live, and things never change. Some things never change, because there he is, peeking and fucking everything up as always. Uber Tie Guy, Colin. It's been so long, man, since we've had you back. We used to talk about 205 Live. Temporary co-host on Slam Pigs Podcast. You've been all over this channel, like Nia Jax is all over any piece of fabric, because there's a lot to use. That was a horrible joke, but expect not to those things never change either, Colin. Welcome back. How you been? Where can everyone catch you?
Follow me on Twitter. It's the only thing I do anymore. It's the only thing I can ever plug anyways. I'm on that Brock Lesnar schedule. I come back for the big shows like Mania, and then I disappear for a while, and I usually fuck something up when I come back. So yeah, it's good to be back. I'm in the Orange Cassidy jacket. You'll be happy to know. So it's good to be back.
Brock Lesnar is actually intimidating.
Orange Cassidy jacket. You have like a
That's nothing.
a fucking God damn, I can't even fucking
Well,
think of
even
what
an
I
Orange
said.
Cassidy jacket, Kite Man, who we'll get to in a second, that's nothing compared to what you wore for WrestleMania, what you wear for every WrestleMania. Your Jinder Mahal face wraparound bowling shirt.
Oh yeah, no, it's my favorite shirt. I'm not wearing it currently. I could only wear it on night one, but yeah, no, it's my favorite shirt. I wear it everywhere I go.
Why only night one? What's the deal?
Because the fabric it's made out of, like, it just seeps in all the body odor you have, and it's not a shirt you can wear for long periods.
So much like Jinder Mahal.
Yeah, basically.
Shots
He's
fired.
good for a little while, but yeah, after a while, you got to switch into the AJ Styles.
Another key member sneaking in low key style. Not the wrestler, not the asshole. Logan Myers, man. It's been a minute. You filled in for Michael a couple weeks back here on Slam Pigs. I know you got so much going on over there with Future Wrestling and your ARC Let's Play series. How you been? Where can everyone catch you? And thank you for coming on and all that good stuff.
For having me. You guys can check me out on Twitter at Logan Myers 144, YouTube, FOW, Wrestlemania coming soon. And just want to say one thing. It's kind of normal for Michael to not show up when I'm coming on because, the intimidation that comes off of me, I understand it. I get it.
I was waiting for at least somebody to heal on Michael, and I love that it was you. I absolutely love that it was you. Thank you so much for being here, Logan. Look to the skies. It's not a hurricane. It's not Superman. It's fucking Kite Man. It's not Rexplosion. The man with the plan, our super villain of the channel, Resident. What's going on, man? Thank you for jumping on. You haven't watched wrestling in a minute. You've fallen off, but you always make time for the Mania. And besides being, as quote, hammered, as you said, where can everyone catch you and all that good stuff? I know you're doing the E-Fed goodness and all that. Riveting.
I think he nodded.
It says he's muted on my screen.
You son of a bitch!
He really is a super villain.
You might have to take a shit or something.
Maybe.
All right. I went off and muted. I'm sorry. I got confused with stupid meetings I got to do during the week. but yes, I have not watched wrestling in a while, but I did watch both nights of WrestleMania, and you can catch me on Fuck Yourself because that's what I'm going to tell you. And Rexplode. Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. Kite Man.
Boo, hiss, heel heat, X-Pac heat. Boo, we want Kite Man back.
Yeah, you got Hogan hosting heat.
I think that does it. I think that's everyone, Tan. If I missed anyone, I'm sorry. Speak up now, forever hold your peace. That's all our pallies for a WrestleMania-sized Slam Pigs episode. Hold the Slam Pigs. Tannen, you were the most casual, even more than Kite Man, you were the most casual viewer of pro wrestling. You haven't literally watched since 2000. That's a shoot.
Yeah, I mean, every now and again,
You'll peek in, but it's either like a commercial or a news story, a wrestler murdered his family.
Yeah, it wasn't something that to sit down and actually take an evening to watch wrestling. It has been a long fucking time to do that.
That being said, I kind of semi-prepared you for this like a month ago when we planned this whole thing. I showed you pictures of guys when you were over recording an episode of the Reset Button. I was like, hey, this is a Kevin Owens or a Rhea Ripley. And you're like, she looks cool. But one thing, and I totally agree, I say it on any chance I get talking about pro wrestling, the thing lacking in modern pro wrestling today, you say it all the time because you love Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, God.
He's your all-time favorite wrestler. Mm-hmm. Characters, over the top, fucking, in a good way.
Wrestling buddy.
And that's one thing I think that pro wrestling suffered from between 2010 and a lot of people still say now. I call it the undies era, the Nexus. All those guys were in fucking undies. They had no personality. The only one who gave a shit was Daniel Bryan. He's in Ring of Honor, the only indie darling. And just years of bland fucking bullshit. And anytime they try to do a character, it was ridiculous. That's the reason their top characters are ones that were never meant to get over because the creative shitheads didn't come up with them. I think we're finally, tonight to me, between night 1 and 2, and we'll go across everyone's opinion on this. If you remember back to WrestleMania 21, they crowned Batista and John Cena. It was like a total passing of the torch night. Both those guys never been champ before that night. They both won the title from their respective opponents. Tonight, as far as the ladies, I feel like that totally felt like that Batista-John Cena WrestleMania feeling. Tannen, you watched probably one of the most special WrestleManias there will ever be for one because fans are finally allowed back. you know, 2 black performers headlining for the first time ever. It's some pretty historic shit you witnessed tonight. Your overall experience, though, I don't really remember you getting mad one time except for the bullshit with the Fiend.
Oh, that was the first round. I was like, what the fuck? And it was the plot. It was the fucking plot. Like, and that's just, God, like I said, like my fucking nephew could have written some better shit, and he's 8 years old. Like, it was like an abrupt end of, like, what the fuck's going on here? And like you said, maybe I need to start watching a little bit more, and it'll expand a little bit. But
well, then you would hate me if you watched Raw every week. You would literally hate me. That's why you shouldn't do that, because it's terrible.
Maybe I'll get Peacock, and then I'll call you up every Monday night and be like, what the fuck?
Get him started on FOW.
Yeah.
But outside of that though, yeah, it was funny because like out of nowhere I hear Travis like, dude, Tana's just in the zone. He's just like sitting here.
I look over and you're on the edge of your seat, like Bobby Heenan used to say. That lady's got a big can behind her. Like, Jesus Christ, you're invested.
I was enjoying every fucking second of it.
I think the biggest takeaway for me tonight was the first time you laid eyes on Rhea Ripley. It's like a kid. You lit up like seeing your first.
Yeah, well, you called it too. You were like, I know you're gonna get into this one.
I'm like, you're gonna fall in love with this shit.
Yeah, you called it right away, and yeah, once I watched her like whole intro and like little backstory thing, I was just like, oh yeah, fuck yeah. Like,
does everybody on this show tonight, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a very rare time where like 6 or 7 people fully agree on one thing, was the ending to the Fiend match both rushed, unneeded, and a big waste of giant time, or is it me?
It was a fucking dumpster fire. I mean, okay, it wasn't quite like, you know, Great Khali not making it to his own fucking Punjabi prison match, you know, fucking bad. But it was pretty fucking just, I don't know what the hell they were thinking, and it looked like half of that was put together like on the fly, like right before they came out.
Yeah, well, so it was as if it was supposed to be, in my opinion, like more of a special effects match, and instead they just fucked that all up too. Like,
I wouldn't even say they did a special effects match, because if you're doing that, you probably just would have just gone cinematic with that shit. Instead, they were just like, hey, let's just make something in the fucking parking lot at 3 p.m. and put it out there, and then oh yeah, we got a little squirty thing, so that Alexa Bliss could have squirty head at the end of the fucking bit. Like, fuck that. It's horrible.
No, squirty head. No, but exactly, that's what I'm saying too. It's like they're like, yeah, well, it'll be a special effects match, but they really like they didn't even use a quarter of their ass to like get that down. And it was just like fucking like the intro, like, okay, he comes out of the Jack in the Box. You're kind of like, all right, this is going to be pretty awesome. But no, and also that fucking red light. And I agreed with you on that one too. Like, what the fuck? Turn on the fucking lights.
The return of the most beloved light in the history of lights.
Oh, God.
I don't know, man. I think everyone loves Sin Cara's light when he did it. I think it's hard to beat the Sin Cara light.
Colin, what'd you think of the Fiend match?
Hey, just to put it all into very simple words, what everybody said, it sucked.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't exactly, you know, sum it up better than that. I mean, yeah, because I mean, Travis, you know, I'm very, you know, easily pleased man when it comes to wrestling. I'm a fan of Jinder Mahal and Baron Corbin. It doesn't take much for me.
Yeah.
And I love the Fiend. I love Bray Wyatt. He's always been one of my favorites. But they always, I saw a tweet, and it said that the Fiend's storyline is basically just a never-ending saga. He gets to one big match, but that big match turns into another big match. You know, there never seems to be a payoff to the current story. They always just immediately throw him into something else, and that's basically what they're doing with this one.
The whole Fiend thing is like he should not ever be the fucking champion. He should just like go and fucking destroy people.
Beat your
never
guy.
Be a fucking champion, you know?
Yeah. I think there's
like Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant, there was a reason why, like, okay, yeah, he was champion for like a fucking day, but it was one of those things. There's a reason why you didn't have to put a fucking championship on him. He's Andre the fucking Giant. You know, like he's a feature guy. You put him on a card, people are gonna be like, I need to see that shit. Even when he was broken down, right? Because by the time WrestleMania 3 rolled around, Andre the Giant was already on his fucking way out. Like, he was not in good fucking shape. He was in poor health at that point, and things were not going fucking great for him. But people wanted to fucking see him because it's just, that motherfucker is huge.
Yeah.
And the thing is, with the Fiend, you had the opportunity to have that kind of spectacle where you can get people in fucking seats going, I need to see this fucked up thing. Like, this looks
Exactly.
cool.
The bigger problem, the big problem for me with the match wasn't so much the fact that, like, I mean, the fact that he lost was dumb enough as it is. It's the fact that, you know, you burn him alive. Seth Rollins has curb stomped him 400 times. He has been trapped under ladders and hit with a giant fucking metal sledgehammer. One RKO, he is out and gone and done. Like that, and I realize the RKO is a very protected move. I get it, but you can't burn him alive in the middle of the ring and then have him take a 3 count to one RKO after. After. But I will say this though.
Not even that. He took the spear and the fucking Goldberg, whatever fucking move it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
can tell you exactly why.
Oh, no, go ahead.
The big reason for a lot of that is it's always been that thing they've been doing for the past like 10 years where like everything's very 50-50 booking, where they can't have anyone look super better than the other guy unless they're like, you know, a guy they're paying a lot of money for. But if it's like, you know, just like regular fucking roster, you notice that no one ever really gets over.
And when you start talking about a guy who's already a 14-time former world fucking champion, talking about a pin hurting him, how ridiculous does that sound? You know?
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of that thinking of we need to keep you know, it's basically, we got to make everyone look strong. But at the same time, by making everyone look strong, you end up making them look weak because no one is effective. You know, like Roman Reigns being at the top of the thing is great. But for a while, the way they were booking him was very fucking 50-50. If he lost, he gets that fucking win back.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like you're not really winning or losing, and it's mostly down to like I think it was right when fucking people were arguing with Road Dogg on fucking Twitter, and he was just like, oh, winning and losing doesn't matter. It's never mattered. It's like that attitude is what's screwing the fucking product now. To where it's become so detrimental to things, to where something like The Fiend, which is a great featured thing, a great gimmick, he's got a good thing going with that, but you're putting him in matches where it's like, oh, like, you know, people have to beat him. And it's just like, yeah, but that's kind of the problem, having people beat him.
But they've already beaten him too much. Like, the Goldberg thing was already a nail in the coffin, especially considering that Randy Orton has beaten Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania before. Like, it's just, like, I was hoping they wouldn't do a repeat of that, but they did.
He should have been nowhere near Goldberg.
He shouldn't have been.
You also got the Fiend. You also got the Fiend being kind of like the Demon from Finn Balor, and the Finn Balor Demon has never been beaten. Yeah. So what's the fucking difference there?
Yeah, but Finn Balor has been beaten a lot. Like, you gotta remember, every time he's out of the paint, he gets the shit. But the way they did it, they didn't do it like,
that's the thing. It should be Bray getting his ass kicked and not the Fiend.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for that, but the problem is, it's just like with the Fiend, you know, like with the Demon. They had that whole thing, and it's a good thing. But the thing is, what they took was a thing that he did in New Japan, which he did to intimidate opponents. It wasn't like a character change or anything. It was literally, I'm putting on paint to scare the shit out of the other guy. You know, and that's how that was the origin of how he did that. So
that's all it was.
Yeah. Like when he would do it, it was like, oh, he'd come out of a coffin and he would be all like corpse painted up and shit. And it was just like stuff just to fuck with Japanese people.
Logan, for me,
well, yeah, I mean, it was like a character change in doing that for them, but for us stupid Americans,
he never wrestled any different. That was the thing, was when he was doing the Demon thing, he never wrestled any different. He was still doing the same Finn Balor stuff. Yeah. And at the end of the day, when you're not doing anything different to differentiate that, you make it a lot less special. So it was more like, oh, it's a pay-per-view, got to put paint on. That's why I'm glad that whole thing was dropped, because now it's like, oh, he could just do his thing, and he was like, when he turned heel in NXT, it was great. I'm like, solidly. I'm behind him all the way on that one. You know, because the demon thing was just, it was used like a character when it wasn't a character, since it didn't change anything.
Logan, for me, it feels like the Fiend is a gun, this badass military grade weapon, and they keep filling it with ammo. But the problem is they keep filling it with blanks. So when it comes to time to fire that gun, who you've polished and it looks great in a fucking case, you take it out on the range, and the first time you put it up on your shoulder and you're ready to cock back, nothing, Logan. I know you hated the finish to this. The whole world hated the finish to this. But what are your thoughts on the Fiend thing, real quick, before we move on to the next match?
Oh, I hated it, but it wasn't as bad as Jinder Mahal's winning the WWE Championship.
All right, that was a fighting word, Logan.
It was the Mark Merrow Spooter of fucking matches.
I will say this, Travis.
What a heel.
I think based on the ending, because if you'll notice, the way Alexa Bliss was sitting on there, she was, the crisscross. I think this is setting up for The Fiend and Bray Wyatt to have some sort of feud with Aleister Black, who's going to be coming back probably on Raw tomorrow, maybe, because that's the Raw after Mania, big return type thing. I think it's going to be Aleister Black. I think Aleister Black has gotten to Alexa Bliss and has kind of like turned her against the Fiend. That way they can split up that whole thing too and give the Fiend like his own sense of like independence again. Because I think that's another thing. He needs to be on his own again, and he needs to, be an ass kicker, not someone who loses to one RKO.
Yeah.
Or they'll do it.
What was the stuff coming out from Alexa Bliss? I don't
motor
get
oil.
that.
Valvoline.
She chugged some motor oil.
Yeah.
I think just a big pen exploded.
It was coming out of that crown, obviously.
It was Mentos and Coke. Come on now.
No, it's like what was like the whole fucking thing about that? I didn't get that at all.
Let's ask.
Well, you have to remember, Andy.
It's kind of like the Papa Shango thing from like Papa Shango. He would put someone under a spell, and he had the warrior puking and everything like that. That's kind of the same vibe and idea.
Vince really wanted to get motor oil over in '92, and all that fucking white whale of motor oil that always haunted him for not getting that angle over with Warrior and Papa Shango, and he's still trying it to this day. He's gonna get it over, by hell. Let me ask the biggest casual in the room, who's laughing like the Joker. What do you think? What would you do with this storyline? What would you continue with it after what you saw tonight?
Oh my god! Well, it's
I would.
thing. I don't know what. That's why I kind of want to see what goes on next. Obviously, the lights went dark, and everybody just disappears. Most anti-fucking-climactic thing ever too. Like that. And, at the end of it, it almost looked like they should have started singing opera to each other, and then lights go out, and you're like, okay, something
from Fiddler on the Roof
gonna happen, and it comes on, and it's just like, WrestleMania is brought to you by Snickers. What?
No, you know what I can't wait for? I can't wait for the fan video, because there's the funniest thing about Bray Wyatt is that Bray Wyatt does that little disappearing thing. He's been doing it since he became the cult leader guy. And the funniest thing is he does this little fucking run where he just fucking runs like a goddamn.
He always starts at like a split second before the lights actually go out, and no one can see him too.
So you know there's gonna be fucking fan video of just like, oh, lights are out.
Well, there's literally one point I busted up laughing because he just stands there and he parts his hands.
Yeah.
And I look at Travis like, is this about to be like Fire Pro? Is he about to split him apart with his mind or something? Like, what the fuck was that?
God damn, yo! I just want a Snickers right now.
I had some Snickers earlier today, and that's why when this next match came up, I literally
Tannen. I don't want.
When this next match came up, I literally had to take a shit. That's not to even knock who was in it. I'm glad I had to take that shit, because this match, from what I hear on all accounts, was shit. The women's tag team title match. Tim?
I feel like it was biased. I feel like it was a biased match, honestly.
Oh, that match happened?
The biggest Nia Jax fan here is Colin. Colin, what are your honest thoughts on this match?
He's such a dick.
That's a shoot.
I mean, calm down. It was all right. I mean, I thought it was. I thought it was just kind of one of those matches where they're kind of just giving I feel like they were giving Tamina and Natalia kind of like just a moment, I guess, because like Natalia's been on her bullshit on Twitter recently about knowing her worth and whatnot over that whole $5, $4 pick your team bullshit, and then I knew. In the tag team turmoil match, I predicted Natalia and Tamina to win, and the reason is because I knew for a fact that they were going to do some sort of Hogan and Andre nod, and eventually Tamina would, do the scoop slam to Nia Jax, and everyone would lose their mind. I knew that's where they were going to go with it. So it was okay. I mean, I thought the ending was somewhat nice and creative at least. Something?
Hey, my opinion is Natalia has nice boobs.
What did we notice, Optic?
All right. The thing that I noticed that first, this is the first time I've ever heard this, but fucking Tamina got a chant. It's one of those things where, like, she was doing all right. But the thing was, it was one of those things where, like, I would never think I would see the day where Tamina was actually getting reaction.
I was rooting for him.
But it was like people hated Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler so much that they're just like, all right, fuck it, Tamina, there you go, come on.
I think Tamina and her longevity and all that, she's a walking meme at this point, but like in a good way. As where Nia is arrogant on Twitter, she was handed the top belt way too early. Tamina's never been handed that top belt in that capacity, so she's always been the underdog on top of it. I can see people, ironically, Tamina being a big fan favorite sometime in the next year. God help us all.
I'm really glad that her knees didn't turn to dust going into that fucking match.
She got Iron Sheik knees?
No, because you got to remember, like for like the past 5-6 years, she was basically hanging out in the goddamn back because her fucking knees always had fucking problems.
Bro, no, she's a prize fighter. Like she only ever really comes back for title opportunity, like battle royals or gauntlet matches or shit like that, or she's in title matches, and that's it. That's all she comes back for.
Did you just call Tamina Snuka a fucking prize fighter?
I'm not wrong. That's all That's all she comes back for half the time is title opportunity.
Well, whatever you're smoking, I need some of that.
Yeah. Logan,
I'm not wrong though.
Logan might disagree with you and think you are wrong. Logan, what did you think of this match? Okay.
That's interesting.
Logan's not talking. I'm gonna say it fucking sucked.
TJ, what did you think of the match?
I think
Logan's here. Logan's here.
Logan came back. Hold on.
I think Natalie has great boobs, and that's all I want to say about it.
Logan, what did you think of the match?
Every time Nia Jax got in the ring, I was playing YouTube videos on my phone of Gilbert's entrance.
Oh, wow. Good answer. That's a great answer, actually. Tannen, you knew nothing about this woman they called Nia Jax going in. I did my best to fill you in as she made her entrance. Before I had to take that sweet shit.
It was Beth and I that ended up sitting there and watching that fucking match together.
I left the two ultimate casuals alone with Nia Jax.
I definitely watched a good bit of stuff that you didn't even see.
Yeah.
What, in general? Like, I mean, it was an entertaining
I let you watch the shitty stuff.
Huh?
I let you watch all the shitty stuff,
did.
so I didn't have to. And you could tell me.
You did let me watch the shit. There was a couple of shitty things we walked away from. Let's
yeah.
But
that particular match, though, whatever. I enjoyed it. I didn't want them to win. They won. It's whatever. That's all I have to say.
What do you have a question for, Logan?
Tannen, I have a really bad gallbladder. Did you have the same issue as me? As every time Nia Jax got in, you wanted to get sick?
How'd you know I had a really bad gallbladder? I'm supposed to get my shit taken out.
That's weird.
It's the only time where you're like, please let my condition fuck up right now.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, that's exactly. I was like, all right, time to go to the bathroom. I know it's coming.
Oh.
Seriously, not to get too personal, I too have a bad gallbladder. I'm supposed to get mine taken out in a couple of months. So that's
I
fucking
scheduled my
hilarious.
surgery on the 28th, so there we go.
Hell yeah.
Hey, good luck.
Good luck, guys. On that note, TJ, you want to talk about Tamina or Nia Jax's boobs before we move on, or?
Please, for the love of God, no.
I don't want to talk about them flapjacks.
No, I don't want to talk about the boobs. I just like Natty's boobs.
Fair enough.
Hey, TJ, Natalia follows me on Twitter. Do you want me to like DM her your contact information or anything?
Yeah, why not?
Get a cameo.
Get a cameo.
Charge your place
Not for $250. Fuck that shit.
Just
They
send her
only
$1.
follow Colin. They only follow Colin because they, feel bad that he's a big Jinder Mahal fan.
Now, at this point into WrestleMania Night 2, this ship was starting to sink. Felt like there were some holes in the bottom compared to the night before, which I thought for the most part was a pretty perfectly booked show through and through, and it's nothing to really complain about. There's a lot to complain about already. But as before, on night 1, the second match sucked a big old donkey dick too. So the third match's job was to pick it back up. And boy, goddamn, did Cesaro, and Seth Rollins do that. They had a hell of a match. A hell of a match.
Cesaro.
I'll tell you, the Cesaro match was probably my favorite of all of WrestleMania this weekend. That was a top one for me. Yeah, for me it's like that, and then I mean the main event was pretty good, for both nights, but like I don't know, Cesaro actually getting his fucking due finally, like a win on the big stage, that's just and Rollins really he really put in the fucking work to get him over. Like it was just like, all right, like fucking like these two dudes like fucking firing all fucking cylinders, doing all that stuff. It was fucking cool.
Yeah. And that's you could say the same. You could say the same for the next match on night 2. Finally, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens go out there and fix this mess we've made. I would say they did just that. I thought this was a great match.
That was really fucking entertaining. Oh my god.
What is it about Sami Zayn that you like so much and you relate to so much?
Sami Zayn?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, first off, before we started watching, Travis is just like, get prepared for this guy. He's like Jason Mewes, but he's in wrestling. And again, if you're a fucking Kevin Smith fan, like right away, like that clicked for me. And then, like, of course I see it and read about his backstory about being, an MMA fighter. Wait a second. Hold on. Am I mixing people up? Yeah, I was mixing Riddle up. Sorry. Let's backtrack.
you know what you got to do? You got to sit him down and show him some El Generico.
Anyway, though, no, but seriously, as far as Zayn goes, now the over-the-top characteristics though of him is what I liked, and the conspiracy. It's a conspiracy, and the thing is I personally know people that act like this, so it was very hilarious to me. But I did like the over-the-top character arc, and the fact that he's fighting his best friend, and then out of nowhere, Logan shows up. The boxer, and it's just like, what the fuck?
Thankfully, Logan made it back to be on the show tonight.
And
I'm not gonna lie, I was so super pissed off when Cole said hashtag Logan is down or some shit. I was like, Michael, I'm gonna come strangle you.
No, that was actually one of my favorite parts.
Logan Paul Tannen.
Yeah, Logan
Jake
Paul.
Paul's brother.
Yeah.
Beverly Brothers. I'll tell you who those are someday. I'll show you.
Yeah, but I know about the other brother. Remember, I was like, wait a second, didn't he get in fucking trouble? And you're like, oh no, that was his brother. But anyway,
I mean, Logan Paul in Japan will probably never happen for a bad reason, but
Oh.
No, but think about it. You film a dead body, you end up at WrestleMania Night 2.
It wouldn't have happened if he didn't film that dead body. He would not have been there last night. I'm telling you.
Yeah, there was no way. It was just like, did he film a dead body? No, I don't want him here. Like if he didn't do it, but it was just like, he filmed the corpse. Did he touch it?
Well, the crowd definitely told him how much they wanted him there. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
No.
And the ending of it all.
I love the fact that he didn't get involved in the match, and then at the end, you just stunner him and fucking get that huge fucking pop. Fucking
the Pete Rose
fucking
gimmick
over fucking life. Yeah, and I'm like, that was very well done. Like right there, just all right. That was perfect because I was thinking it was gonna be some obnoxious shit where he was gonna be doing shit and kind of because that's what he does. He makes a spectacle of himself because he's an asshole.
He wasn't he wasn't on the level of Bad Bunny, but I mean he served a purpose and he wasn't overused. That I agree full-heartedly. He was there to take a stunner and that was it. And that's all they needed to do.
That was definitely enough. And that made it perfect.
Yeah.
Like
Unless Friday comes up and SmackDown happens, and then he shows up again.
Optic, what did you think of the in-ring for this match?
For the Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty well done. I mean, like if you're talking like in terms of like the matches that they've had over the years, I like their NXT bouts a little more because they were just a little more brutal. But I thought this was really well done. It was a pretty good, it was like one of those good, solid mid card matches that you're like, all right, like this is what should be here, and it's fucking awesome. And it was probably one of the more show stealers for early in the night, especially after like the really uneven shit how it started. It was just like meh, and then you go right into that, and I'm like, all right, I'm into it again. This is good shit.
I just wish they could have got like 10 more minutes. That's all.
Yeah. It definitely needed more time because it was one of those, like there was parts of it where it kind of felt a little rushed, but it was just like ultimately I'm like they did a good job. They came out there. They did their shit. They put the fucking work in, and Sammy did some great character work. Cause that dude is nuts, and I fucking love him. He's great. And Kevin Owens. Yeah, I mean, come on, he was rocking the WrestleMania 5.
The Mega Powers.
Yeah, the Mega Powers exploding, and it was him and Sammy is the Mega Powers exploding. I thought that was fucking great.
Kite Man, what did you think of this match?
Natalia's boobs.
Yeah, I was
Kevin Owens' tits.
Honestly, I didn't watch the match. I skipped over it and
Scrolled the timeline for more Natalia's boobs.
I mean, it's basically what I did. It was you know what? Honestly, for most
Dana
of,
Brooke would be more
night
relevant.
two-
I mean,
You'd think Dana Brooke, her titty actually popped out, and all TJ can think of is Natalia.
Well, the thing is, it was like with like all of night 2. It was like I put it on and I slept through it. It was stupid. It was boring. I didn't enjoy any of the fucking matches.
I liked night 1 better than 2. Does everyone pretty much agree that night 1 was better?
Night 1 was a lot better.
Night one was pro wrestling. Night 2 was sports entertainment.
I thought they were both pretty uneven.
Yeah.
Night two was a fucking AEW type of fucking shit that I don't enjoy watching, and so yeah, I pretty much slept through night 2.
Fair enough. It's not for everybody. They did some things on night 2 that I thought were good, but I think as far as a streamline, pretty steady ride, pretty steady sail. I'll keep, here with the pirate theme. It was good. Way better than night 2. Logan, what'd you think of Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens?
I'm actually going to mention 2 things. Okay, so 1, the match was great between Cesaro and Seth Rollins. I just want to do this quickly. It reminded me, and I know Travis is going to love this answer, hopefully. It reminded me of WrestleMania 17, William Regal, Chris Jericho.
Oh.
I can see that.
And then for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, tremendous. And the only thing that just confuses me out of everything, why haven't they pulled the complete trigger on Kevin Owens being the present-day Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Because he's not Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I get that, but the pop with the stunner.
I think they really should, stop with trying to chase in the glory of older people and actually establish, stars properly. Like that's been their problem for the longest time. Is like Kevin Owens is great, but but we're talking like Kevin Owens is a unique dude when you compare him to a lot of other people. He's got a totally different look. He's got a totally different way he does things. Yeah, he does the stunner, but going like, oh, he should be the next Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't really agree with that. I'm thinking he should be the first Kevin Owens. Because the guy has the ability and he has the character. He could do all the stuff. He could play off people. He could cut a promo, better than most people on the roster, and. Yeah, I think he could, if they just, gave him a chance, he could really come into his own and be like a major top guy for however long he wants to be.
Yeah.
But
Obviously, his biggest conundrum is that he's not a physical specimen, and we know at the end of the day, that guy, that face.
But they always sideline him.
I was just about to say that he's not the physical specimen that like Vince McMahon looks for. I mean, he's an awesome wrestler. He's technically awesome. He's a great promo, but he just does not have that.
And see, the thing is, it can be done. Look at fucking
super look that they look for, you know?
Ted DiBiase never had a good body. Jake the Snake Roberts never had a good body, even in his prime. You know what I mean? Daniel Bryan.
That's why they weren't champion.
Daniel Bryan's a little jacked, but I mean, at the end of the day, he's a very small man. You can get around that. Look at Mankind, for fuck's sake, the biggest overachiever in the history of pro wrestling. You know?
True.
I just, at the end of the day,
super overachiever, yes.
I wasn't trying to say like him to be Stone Cold. I just wanted.
I know what you mean.
No. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, we've got you.
It's just like one of those things where I think like, but that's things you have a lot of guys that are like that. It's like, it's like, it's shades of Rick Rude, it's shades of Macho Man. It's like, how about stopping that shit? Because you don't want to like. Here's the thing: when you have a product that's kind of in decline right now, you don't exactly want to refer to the times when there's people that
when
were
it was
more
good.
Over. Yeah. Like you don't want to. It's just one of those things where you don't want to. You don't want to remind people of that because people are gonna go, I'd rather just watch that old shit.
Well, you guys have probably all seen them on Twitter, like the past 2 or 3 weeks leading up to WrestleMania. All these quote news sites. This will be the first time in so and so many years that the Undertaker, John Cena, all these men will not be performing on the show. Everyone's freaking out on the time. In my mind, I'm like, good, because you can't ever fucking pass the torch if there's no hands ready to accept it.
No, that's exactly what I wanted to say too. Is like, aside from Shane McMahon, and I mean Edge, maybe I don't know exactly if Edge is still going to be there weekly or whatever. But aside from them, everyone on the card is a wrestler who's there every week.
You can still have that.
Because altogether, this was still a good, like WrestleMania 37 as a whole was still a good WrestleMania, and that shows that they can have those and actually make people give a shit about some of the people they actually have weekly instead of having to bring in guys like Lesnar, Goldberg, or John Cena, or The Rock, or people like them to carry the show.
Well, you could compare like how like the roster is now and how everything's handled now. And you look at like 1984, right? You look at 1984.
Black Saturday, pal.
Is that
I was like in 1984.
Well, I was already aware at that point. But it was one of those things where, like in 1984, how a lot of these characters and people were kind of brought into it. They weren't like going, "Hey, you got to be a Bruno Sammartino type."
Yeah.
Or hey, you got to be this. That.
They were being told, go out there and draw me some fucking crowds and put some asses in the seats. Do what you do best.
It was that focus on that thing. That's how a Macho Man could happen. It was Macho Man. He worked for his dad. He did some like smaller things. But people noticed, they were like, this guy's kind of fucked up.
And see, in that day,
to put him on TV.
The right way to do it, and the right way to do it, we saw it in that day when guys would take influences from it, like Hogan did with superstar Billy Graham, and Dusty would do from Graham. You could borrow some things, but don't try to be the next blank.
Yeah,
there's difference.
Like when they like TNA when they dressed fucking AJ Styles up like fucking
Ric Flair. He looked like a little douchebag.
Yeah, I'm like, we already have a little H, and he's a shitty referee. Like, we don't need that.
Colin, was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens the match in your mind that you thought when they would finally be booked together at WrestleMania that it could have been, or did it disappoint you?
I mean, I wouldn't say it disappointed me, but I honestly, you could have given me that match at any kind of pay-per-view, and it would have been a good match. But nothing about this really struck me as, WrestleMania huge, and maybe that's just because I had really thought, Kevin Owens was going to jump off something and shit like that, even though it was just a regular singles match. So maybe I did it to myself.
Right.
But yeah, it was a good match. I mean, I'm sure it won't be I bet it won't be the first one they have at WrestleMania. So I mean, I'm excited to see if they do anything in the future. But for a singles match on a Mania card, it was really good. It definitely picked up the pace from the hell of a matches we'd had open the show.
I completely agree. My thoughts real quick on it. I don't think that Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns should have had that last man standing match at the Royal Rumble. I think they should have stopped that feud after TLC. If you're just going to do nothing with Nakamura at Mania anyway, just put Nakamura in that match with Roman at the Rumble. Then you could have given this another month and a half to let this Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens story marinate, because there's so much history to work with. With more of a build for this match, it could have got a lot more out of it. It just didn't have enough time, the match time or the build time for it. And I don't feel like it felt flat. But for me personally, we saw better matches on the show. And one of them I never thought would be one of my favorite matches of the night, but it was the U.S. title match. I love that fucking match.
I couldn't agree more with that one. I thought that was I thought they had way more chemistry together than I thought they would, at least.
I have one thing about it, and it's one of those things that's been bothering me with Riddle for a while. I mean, first off, that kick at the end, that solid fucking kick right in the lip. It was like, oh shit, like that was good, and Riddle sold shit like nobody's fucking business. But that thing in the beginning, whenever Riddle comes out now and they have birds fly out of his ass, I'm not a fan of that. It's like he comes out with the dumb scooter, and I'm like, all right, the scooter thing, stop. Fucking
scooters right off.
Yeah, it's just the scooter thing it's just like, it's dumb. It's just like, oh, him, like it's mostly just to set up feuds with him because he can't cut a promo or like really do anything like with anyone else. No, I got to come up to him with a fucking scooter and bother them until one of them hits me, and that's how we have a match. That was kind of dumb. But the birds thing, especially tonight, the birds flying out of his asshole with pirate hats. And I'm like, I get it for the theme, but it's one of those things I don't like. This is an overall thing with WWE right now, is I don't like that dumb CG overlay shit they've been doing on stuff. I really don't like it. Like, it really detracts for me. And I noticed that they started doing something a little more, where they used a different camera on people's entrances.
Yeah, they use the 8K camera, so they're like crystal clear and shit.
Motion too.
Like when Roman Reigns came out, it looked like it was video game graphics.
Oh, I said the same thing.
Yeah,
I said the same exact fucking thing
camera.
there.
That's the 8K camera.
I think it looks fucking terrible. Like, if it was a video game, I go, all right, that's impressive. But if it's actually real people, then I'm like, it doesn't look right. It looks fucking alien to me. Especially like if you look at it fucking Paul Heyman, with that fucking camera on him. It looked like a puppet Paul Heyman, in a video game. It looked really strange. And they did that for everyone. And it was very distracting. And it didn't look right. It didn't look right at all to me. And I'm looking at it on a 4K TV, and it just looks like monstrosities coming at me. But at the same time, you have those dumb CG graphics, and with Riddle, the big thing that I'm like, the bird thing, it fucking throws me off so much more. I'm like, I could never take this guy seriously.
It is funny.
Like,
that was the remark that I actually made, and I was like, he has doves flying out of his dick. You say ass. I thought it was the other end, but like, still, like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, either way, there's birds coming out of his mid crotchal region. But it's one of those things where, like, that shit, it's like, I will never, ever take Matt Riddle fucking seriously. I mean, I guess you're not really supposed to because his characters.
Yeah. He's like it was funny. Travis and I were talking about. He's like, how do you feel about this character? And before he even showed up, he's just like, dude, he kind of reminds me of Jason Mewes, blah blah blah. And I was like, it's like Jason Mewes meets Bill and Jay meets Bill and Ted meets fucking what's his face from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, especially that character.
And I think that, like, if you ever want to do anything else with him,
Spicoli.
Yeah, thank you.
But it's like, if you ever want to do anything else with him, you really just can't. Like, he's very pigeonholed into that one role, and you're doing this dumb shit around him to where you're like, he's supposed to be a face or something? Like,
he's supposed to be like just your fucking average stoner because of what happened with him with MMA. Getting kicked out for that. But that can only be played so much. That dumb stoner character can only play so long, and it's not very dynamic. Like,
it's already lost with me. I really don't want to see him in any titles whatsoever at this point. I'm like fuck that guy, because it's just like it's not one of those things where I'm like, oh, that's the guy you put money on. Like, that's not the guy. So having Sheamus, put him down like that, I'm like, you know what, Sheamus is legit. Sheamus is a guy, like, I can get behind a guy like him. You know what? Like, that dude can kick the shit out of him.
no, yeah, Sheamus is fucking terrifying.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, I remember when people hated Sheamus, like when he first came out, they were trying to like kind of make it up. Yeah, they were kind of making him like hey, look, it's an Irish ginger John Cena. Like when they were doing that shit, that was terrible. But afterwards, when they really kind of let him like do some stuff. Yeah, like actually do some heel work and actually do stuff. It was like, all right, he came to his own. I'm like, I like this guy. He's fucking strange looking. He's a goddamn monster. But it's one of those things where it's like, you know what? This is a guy that should have been much higher than he was. Like especially like the way he handles shit tonight.
He still beat John Cena for the WWE title in a tables match in like one of the first years he was on Raw. I mean, and not to say you're not wrong, but like but because I love Sheamus, I think he's phenomenal. And Sheamus is a cool one for me because like I started watching wrestling when Sheamus debuted on ECW, like give or take a couple of months before or something like that. So, like, I've watched Sheamus, like, his entire WWE career, so it's really cool to see him still, like, winning titles at WrestleMania. Like, he's done a lot in his career. I mean, King of the Ring champion, Royal Rumble winner, like...
And everybody fails to realize he actually faced Triple H at a WrestleMania.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing. He's one of those guys that I would like to see higher up on the card. Because he's one of those guys. He's definitely a steady hand. He doesn't injure people in the fucking ring, except for Matt Riddle's fucking lip. But it's one of those, like, he gets the job done. He's entertaining, and he can actually be versatile and do a lot of different character things. Like, I mean, I remember that overly long fucking feud with Cesaro that ended up making them a tag team, and they were fucking hilarious. I loved them. I loved the fucking bar. That was fucking great.
And both of them walking out of Mania as winners this year too, which is really good to see.
Yeah. Like that part really fucking that made me happy. Like that's what I'm like of my takeaways of WrestleMania. It's like, all right, Sheamus and Cesaro got their fucking wins. That's fucking good. I love those guys. Those guys are great.
And I just want to point this out for like Sheamus. It's crazy how just a year or so ago they were saying that he might have to end up retiring because his back injuries and stuff. And look at him now; he's still taking big bumps.
Yeah.
And another thing, to me, Sheamus is one of the most underrated guys on the promo, and nobody really talks about Sheamus on the mic, but I actually like him.
Yeah, he's really good on the mic. Yeah, whenever they actually let him do shit, it's like, all right, this guy's fucking good. I'm like, why aren't they really pushing? Like I understand. Yeah, you got him a belt tonight, but it was one of those things where for a while they weren't really doing anything with him.
I think if the speaking out controversies wouldn't have happened, as far as Matt Riddle, he'd be way more hyped. They have a lot more hype behind him than he does.
I just don't think there's a lot of room to fucking wiggle with Riddle, even without the speaking out thing. I'm talking like there's not a lot of versatility to him to where you're like, okay, like I could do a lot more with him. It's like he kind of has like one kind of match and one kind of gimmick, and that's sort of it. It's basically like Simon Dean 2.0. With that shit,
basically, like I feel like Riddle is the.
So remind me, what was the speaking out of Matt Riddle?
He cheated on his wife.
He was accused of cheating on his wife in a way that wasn't. At first, it started out consensual, but the way that the victim told it wasn't consensual by the end.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, he cheated on his
allegedly.
Wife.
Yeah, but. Yeah, and
oh no, he admitted to that part.
He admitted to that part, but the other stuff is allegedly.
Yeah, the other stuff is allegedly. So that's why I go with he cheated on his wife. That's about it. The rest of the stuff is alleged.
Actually, it was to me. where like he cheated on his wife and he also has a stalker, because that came out to be like true also.
No, the stalker thing wasn't exactly true. It was him. That was basically the shit he was putting out there.
It was a glorified narrative on her part.
Yeah.
So he got basically canceled because he cheated on his wife.
Not fully canceled because there's no like concrete 100%.
He was still on the WrestleMania card.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't call that canceled.
I mean, shit. So is the Fiend. He did the same.
So is Hulk Hogan.
Get him canceled because he cheated on his wife.
But I just wanna. I didn't really get to like mention this, but for what Optic said about the CGI shit, some of it is cool. Some of it is just what the fuck.
I hate every last thing. It really cheapens people's entrances.
I didn't mind Drew McIntyre.
I just love riddles with the bird so much because it makes all the dorks in the IWC so fucking mad. I'm just laughing. And they put a little pirate hat on the bird.
You were in the fucking room, and I was even just like, yeah, birds flying out of his dick. Like, that makes no sense.
No, but with the CG shit, it's one of those things where it seems to be a crutch to not have real entrances for people anymore. Because if you notice something, a lot of people's entrances where they actually they do something on the stage and then they go down, they do the whole, and they'll have some pyro. It's like, yeah, I get it. Like there was some pyro, they brought that back finally. Thank fuck, because I missed the pyro. That was some good shit.
There was so much pyro at WrestleMania this year. Just want to put. I mean, it was a celebration. Yeah.
How much
Bailey got
they
pyro
spent on
for
fireworks this year?
Oh, way over probably $2 million on pyro.
But with the CG stuff, it's sort of like we don't really need to film their entrances too much. It's just like, oh, let's just stick an 8K camera where they look like wax dolls, and then just put the CG shit around them. And I'm like, that really just cheapens. Because you know what remind me of an 8K camera? It reminded me of, remember the first fucking the old wrestling games
where the background was blurry. Tannen even mentioned that tonight. It looked like a fucking PS2 game.
Yeah, like we're talking like first SmackDown where they fucking have just like a picture behind them and just a model walking in front of it.
I don't like the 8K PS2 entrances. It's not that I love the CGI. It's that I guess I accept it because there was a time where I'm sure some old school fans were like, this Titantron thing, it's fucking stupid. Movies are the guys and fireworks when they come out. This is wrestling. We don't need that. And I guess I'm looking at like the CG things like, they're not getting any poorer. They're trying to appeal to kids at the end of the day, and it
is an entertainment thing.
I don't think they're going to stop with the CGI. Now, if they do it in NXT, don't do that shit.
I get that, but not everyone should have something CGI.
Yeah, but
I guess
I agree, because then the ones that do, it's more special.
I think that because I don't think they don't do CGI for everybody on like the other pay-per-views, but they probably did it for most people tonight because it's it's Mania
season.
Like
Jackson Riker ain't getting any CGI.
I'm definitely too. Look at how like the Super Bowl has become.
Yeah,
and it's all CGI bullshit constantly going on during a fucking football game.
It's just a dick measuring contest with all these companies. Like, well, look at our CGI.
Watch the McIntyre one again. They actually fuck up with the CGI thing. You'll see at one point where they do a far shot and they're putting like his logo in. You can see them actually scooching the logo around the screen a little bit.
Oh, wow.
And it was just like, yeah. Like, I noticed that right away, and I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, like you don't have that already set up in advance. Like what are you doing? It's just like, no, I gotta mouse it over. Like, it did everything but show. It did everything but show the goddamn pointer on the fucking.
Just showed the pointer.
Shit.
There's an option on OBS to hide your browser.
Optic, the Drew McIntyre CGI from Monday Night Raw is what I'm talking about. Also, I just wanted to point that out. Where he had like rocks and a sword or something inside.
Oh yeah,
it was pretty cool.
That one was cool.
It looks like a bunch of bird shit floating in the air.
It's all the birds from Riddle's. It's all the birds from Riddle's CGI.
Yeah. Just low gravity and Tampa.
It all connects. It's all a part of the storyline. That's why
we go from bird shit.
We should put together the narrative of the story behind their whole CG. Like it's this whole big connected universe within a universe.
That's the next fucking budget game WWE is going to put out. Their CGI.
Yeah, we got to get really high and brainstorm this one.
God.
But at the end of the day, to move on, I guess for subjects is Matt Riddle pretty much should have had weed instead of birds or flip-flops.
I mean, he was out there with the Great Khali and RVD advertising rolling papers, so it seems that they calmed the fuck down.
Yeah, no, that was kind of shocking that they would
Yeah.
actually let. We're talking. This is a product they're still aiming at kids, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, RVD rolling papers, brah.
Bro,
Like,
if they sell those off the shop, I don't care if they're $10. I'll buy them.
no, he sells them on his own. It's actually his own little business.
Tannen, it's
Oh,
been
he's
so
better.
long since you've watched wrestling. You were saying comments like, if I was a kid and this was wrestling with the satanic little girls and rolling papers, my parents would be like, fuck this.
Oh yeah, they would flip the fuck.
Although
out
we
back
did
then.
have pimps and gangrel and
Yeah, we
shit
thought
like that.
That was acceptable. I mean, like,
Pimps were fine. Hoes are fine.
The 70s
Don't
it happened.
get
Yeah,
hit.
there's blaxploitation movies and everything, and pimps and all that shit. That's okay.
Don't get out
But
in the head.
God forbid we'd be smoking weed and
And worshiping the
and
devil.
worshiping the devil. And was it? Here's the thing.
Playing with motor oil.
Actually, it's not even a pentagram. It's whatever the other thing is. That's the
Pinnacle.
Yeah, pinnacle.
Yeah,
Thank you.
this is just
So it's
actually a long
witchcraft.
good story.
Goddamn Wiccan bullshit. Up next, it's the Nigerian bass player tournament.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Nigeria baseball.
I thought it was.
Who
I
plays
thought
the
it was
best
by-
bass in all of Nigeria? No, the Nigerian drum fight. Odd name, but I love the way they explained it on SmackDown how the object is to beat your opponent like a drum. In Nigeria, that's where we do it. Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall taking on Big E, and this for the Intercontinental title. Look, I joke about the Coming to America gimmick, but I love the change for Apollo Crews. I love that they're fucking doing something with this guy finally.
Yeah, I like that they're doing something and actually letting the guy talk. But did they really have to have him do an incredibly fake, borderline offensive?
Apparently, the Nigerian government loves it because it made front page waves down there when it first debuted with the gimmick.
Yeah, but it reminds me of what they're doing with oh god, who was said on 205 Live that they suddenly turned into a racist ninja?
Akira Tozawa.
Yeah, Akira Tozawa, who is actually really goddamn good,
Yeah.
and I think he's completely underutilized. What did they do?
Hey,
They-
hey, he is not underutilized. He is hanging out with Ricky Buggs and R-Truth and Drew Gulak doing that weird Old Spice bullshit.
Tannen, those are shitty wrestlers, by the way. So you know.
I feel like you're like my dad taking me on a fishing trip.
No, you see, son, you cast like this, and you pull in a Drew Gulak, you throw that back in the ocean.
Yeah, I'm just kind of beside myself where it's just I see that Old Spice ad, and it's okay, Drew Gulak is in this, who could be doing way better if they used them. R-Truth, R-Truth they've been using as a comedy thing, but that dude can still. He may be a lot older than a lot of the roster, but that dude is just as good as he was back, 20 years ago.
Drew
R-Truth is
Gulak
great.
looks like he should be in an eHarmony commercial, I feel like. Playing
Yeah,
acoustic, saying, hey, give me a call.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where it's a lot of times. But then you have Akira Tozawa, where he's just he's literally doing the racist accent, like the one they used to do for Sonny Ono, just completely, I'm surprised he didn't say choppy choppy or pee pee or any of that fucking bullshit, in those. Yeah, no, that's just,
He's really Japanese, Tannen.
Backing out of this.
I think
No, but,
I think Gulak and guys like Tozawa, they're actually going to end up as trainer. Because I knew Gulak and Pierce trained Bad Bunny for his match, which is a sentence I thought I'd never say in my life, but I did.
Well, clearly they did something correct. That shit ruled.
no, okay. If
A
we
lot
wanna
of
get-
credit to Miz and Morrison. Let's,
One, I hate the Canadian Destroyer, and I hate it even more now. It's a stupid fucking move. But the main takeaway I got from that was that Bad Bunny really he act if you actually look at the fucking nuance of the match, he actually gave a shit and he listened.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the thing. No, he actually held the tag rope. He even wiped his feet getting into the fucking ring.
You think there's
You
a
know,
criteria now, like we've learned our lesson from the Snookies and shit like that, where there's a PC now? We saw this with Pat McAfee, who blew everyone away. Do you think they're not sending guys out there in these capacities and we're like, no, you're going to get fucking tweaked up and, you know, the screws tightened and shit before we send you out there? We've learned our lesson.
That's the thing, is that with
Our guys get injured enough with their own fucking guys.
Even with like Stephen Amell, they were people who were naturally interested and fans of wrestling, that they were like, hey, I want to train some. I want to do, you know, I want to actually like, you know, do this, you know, do it right. So like they would actually and do that kind of, they would do that training. I mean, they kind of crash course it over a couple weeks, but it's one of those things where like they actually put in the effort, they put in the work, and they actually fucking did good. And I think that's really fucking awesome. And it's better than like a lot of these other fucking people who like come out like, oh yeah, I'm just famous, I'm here for a fucking paycheck. No, these people actually came in to fucking work, and I respect that shit. You know, just
that Bugatti that he had on Raw, that was actually legitimately Bad Bunny's $3.7 million Bugatti. I read a story that apparently he bought that Bugatti, but everyone recognizes him, so he can't drive it around. So he had no idea what to do with that Bugatti, and he found a reason for it, I guess.
Hey, let him paint it.
Yeah, he can. If he can afford a $3 million fucking car, he can obviously afford to get it painted over again. So.
Well, the paint that they were using wasn't like, it was like Crayola paint. You saw that
shit. Yeah.
Like so running.
It'll
like
wash off.
The wind blows and that shit comes off.
Yeah, that's like kid paint that you could just clean it off. So.
Tannen,
but still.
The biggest takeaway from this Nigerian drum fight for you and me, because my significant other watched this with us. She got so fucking pissed at the ending to this. That was the most mad she was all night. With Yabba Dabba Dooba Fett coming in, and what's his name, Colin? I know you know it. Dabba what?
Dabba Kato.
Yeah.
Dabba Kato.
And his General Adnan cosplay.
That won't be his name tomorrow or on SmackDown on Friday, I guess.
Yeah, on SmackDown it's going to be Dabba Kato.
Like, there's always a weapon.
Yeah.
Shush!
Yeah.
Okay. There was a constant weapon involved in this fucking fight, though.
It was that there were no rules.
Well, the match was good. The match was good up until that dude came in. But the thing that threw me was, why is he wearing marching band pants? Why is he wearing an ill-fitting military shirt? And
he's literally a war general type thing?
Why did the announcers have no fucking clue who he was? Because he was just on television.
We don't talk about Raw Underground. We don't talk about how the new Raw Tag Team Champion was the doorman.
The first rule of Raw Underground is you don't talk about Raw Underground. All right.
Which is
exactly.
That's why you never bring up Cesaro being a lawyer and a contract signing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, but it was one of those things where, like, what threw me was the fact that he had patches on the coat.
Patches O'Houlihan.
Shirt. No. Like he had the shoulder things, but it was like a different foreign country and United States military patches, and I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense, like at all.
I didn't hate this finish because a heel's supposed to cheat, and it's another. I guess Cruz needed somebody in his little Nigerian world.
They had to get the most awkward, goofy, fucking stupid-looking motherfucker and put him in fucking marching band pants.
At the end of the day, for me, I'm glad Apollo Crews won, because if he lost, I thought he was going to win at Fastlane, but if he lost again here, this gimmick was done. It was dead. He needed this win. I'm glad he did. Logan, what did you think of this match in the finish?
I thought it was a Christmas special. Thought it was one of them Thanksgiving Day food fight shit, whatever. You know how they dunk them into apple bowl and shit, you know? That's what I thought it was, because they had everything.
So you thought it was good? Or...
Oh, hell no, it was terrible.
Oh, okay.
But good.
Thank God.
The Apollo one.
I liked the match. Again, I got to reiterate, I liked the match.
Up until the ending, I was like, all right, you know, because, you know, Big E's, you know, actually, like, you know, showing some ferocity and the whole thing. You know, Apollo Crews is, you know, countering shit, and like they were doing really good, just beating the shit out of each other, and I liked that. That was good. Then but then fucking Dabba Kato fucking shows up. Let's just pretend he's someone else, you guys, and put him in a really ill-fitting, like, they couldn't even find a fucking shirt his size. It looked fucking weird.
I mean, he's a big man. He's a big man.
Could you just tell him to bring a shirt from home then?
I mean, they got Omos proper fitting clothes, so I mean...
Yeah, Great Khali managed to get a suit that was his size.
I mean, all I'm gonna say.
Even though he pisses in bathtubs and hotel rooms. Go ahead, Logan.
Like, all I'm gonna say is, like, Big E, man. Like, I don't know. He's so talented. He's really good on the mic. He's very entertaining. And I don't even remember that he's on the New Day. You know, he's still part of the New Day. Like, and how many months has it been since they, you know, like, had to, like, break up a little bit?
Couple.
Hasn't been that long. And he has built himself a character. And I think he should be the next challenger for Roman Reigns. I'll be honest.
I think they should go Cesaro. I think they should test that. And I'm not saying put the belt on Cesaro, but a good angle.
I think it's Cesaro's time. He's put in the work. He's sacrificed to that company like a motherfucker. He's done a lot of stuff. People like him. People really want to get behind him. So I'm saying, get Cesaro up in there. Get him there for SummerSlam.
Well, they have a couple months before SummerSlam, so they can get in Big E and Cesaro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Tannen, Rhea Ripley is your new muse. Fair to say?
I wouldn't say muse as much, but you called it really well. Like you were like, first off, you even said this is one of the matches I've been looking forward to all night.
It was this match, our next match, Asuka Rhea Ripley is the match I was most looking forward to.
And you definitely said that you were like, this is somebody that you're gonna like. Yeah, and as soon as I saw her and her moves and everything during the recap, I was like, holy shit, yep, all about it. And I'm also chick from Okinawa. Come on, give me your name.
Asuka.
Yeah, Asuka. Thank you. But I was really impressed with like her when she started the show. I was like, this is gonna be very interesting. And I like. Remember, guys, I haven't been into wrestling for almost 20 years, other than peeking into the door, and I really like the direction that they are taking with women and making it more of like, you
said it before the show even started tonight. You said, I saw highlights of night one. When did WWE turn into fucking Glow? I like this shit. Yeah. Because you were used to brawls and panty matches and fucking mud fights.
But then this is going back to like it's good old like as far as women's wrestling goes, like roots, characters, and just seriousness.
Most of the time. And, then you have your Dana Brooks and your.
But you know what? No. Like, so I was definitely looking forward to this match. As soon as I was introduced to the character, I was like, holy shit. And I definitely put my money on Riley because, like, I was just like, yeah, you're right away. And I like the way that she does the moves, especially with her ropes and her intro.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about her intro.
Though,
her band.
I hated that fucking band.
That was awful.
Oh my fucking god!
I have to tell you something.
Yes.
They fucked up that girl's mic so bad, and then like they decided halfway through to actually just play the track over it just to cover up how bad.
I noticed that because the lead singer standing there.
They said it sounded fine live. Like people who were there at Mania.
Because it was the actual track by the end of it.
Oh god. Yeah, no. Like, it started out as the studio track and then all of a sudden it was the live track and it was like, what the fuck? And then, at the end of it, too, like, real quick, she has to flash her tits and to smile. Like, it was just like, yeah, thanks for that. You're like, you sucked. So, like, oh, cool.
Either way, the music was on point.
Well, the thing was, like they made a big deal about getting that lady in there. And the thing is, it's like, did you even bother to check if she was any good live? Because like you had a Gwen Stefani situation where Gwen Stefani's great on an album, like the way she sang it, it's like all on point on the album. But you put her fucking live, and it's basically just a warbling dead fucking weasel. And that's what you had here with this. I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, she's talented on albums. She sounds fine, everything's all good, but there's a reason for that. It's controlled and it's produced, and it's
early
mixed,
Gwen live with no doubt was decent, but I think then she just started relying on like fans to sing the rest of the lyrics.
I was criticizing the lead singer's vocals, but I was noticing the band was actually playing. I was noticing the drummer was drumming, and I was like, they sound good.
Yeah,
can't shit on this playing too much.
they were actually playing up until the point when they swapped out the fucking track, when it was kind of like, yeah, this is not going good. So you just hear them just go, because it just kind of skips a beat a little bit. You're like, wait a minute, what's going on?
And then her flashbacks hit them walk away.
I mean, Lemmy forgot the words when he was doing his performance, and it was better than this.
But it's fucking Lemmy. He can fix anything. I mean,
exactly.
I mean, you put some fucking respect on Lemmy's fucking name.
That's what I'm
But
doing.
okay,
I wasn't
so yeah, the shitty
insulting
band in
him.
the background though. But I will say, Riley came out and had these awesome moves, even on the ropes, and was like doing this shit.
her poses.
That was
yeah.
that was good. She had a good, but goddamn, the music like threw it off. Like I would have rather put it on mute or put like something else on in the background to just let her do that.
What did you think on the other end? What did you think of Asuka and her look and her entrance for the
Asuka's
first time ever
was
seeing
not
it?
like that really that interesting, but it wasn't as shitty because like
Look what it followed.
didn't have a
I
shitty
mean,
band, and we even made the comment like, yeah, it wasn't that great, but at the same time, you had a shitty band. I don't, did they plan that? Did they plan on her sounding like shit? Like, I'm gonna come out doing kind of my basic shit, and then like it's still gonna look good.
I think they went in going like, oh, we know about this fucking band, and we know, and they did the original theme song, and it sounded fine, and they're like, oh, she could just, we just bring her in and just do that. It's not like it really requires much. It's like, no, it turns out it requires a lot. It requires, people to properly sound mix it, to make sure everything is, in order. You need a proper producer on that. No, it's like, no, just put her out there with a fucking live mic. It's just like, no, I would rather listen to a dog die in an alley.
I'd rather listen to every album of In This Moment on a loop.
Oh Jesus! Dude,
Yeah.
that's even worse.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like to a certain degree. It's like I mean, like apparently in this moment, I'm like, I don't like them. They're all right.
And
but-
look,
but-
I'm not being sexist. I loved Kitty for what that's worth back in the day.
Well,
no,
in this moment it's all right, but it's not something you listen to in a loop.
And
There's
as soon
a
as
good
we
reason.
saw what was it that I said? As soon as they showed her first, I was like, oh hey.
Yeah.
And then it switched to the live off of a recording track. And then it was like, whoa, just stop singing. Like, let your band play.
Also, what's the point of having a live crowd when you're just going to drown them out with a tape of a live crowd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they control their audience for what they want their viewers at home to see.
Yeah.
Like how
It's like
Hulk
it's like
how
electric.
apparently Hulk Hogan got the shit booed out of him live. You could hear it way more on night 2 on
But the
television.
entirety of WrestleMania, they literally did the Roman Reigns when he was a face, when they were trying to put him over huge.
Yeah.
But they did it for the whole entire fucking show. That when you did have that legit pop.
Because I think they fear what AEW is going through. Like, you'll have fan noise, but it's so pitter-patter. But this is still 25,000 people. It's not like it's 1,000 people. I mean, 25,000 people can still make some fucking noise.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I mean,
I even made the comment, too, as far as the Hulk Hogan thing goes, and them being in pirate outfits.
Yeah.
Remember I said, dude, if he was still alive, it would be Randy Savage that would have come out with him.
Oh, yeah.
Hard R.
Like, that's what it would have been.
As far as the women's world title match, I'll go first and everybody can say their piece. I knew after I saw the main event of night 1, this match was going to be good, but they didn't have a chance in hell in following what those two women did last night. They were very capable. It just fell a little short, and I feel like when the match started picking up, it was over. Rhea Ripley is your new women's champ. I hate the Riptide. I've hated it since she used it in NXT UK. She needs a better finisher.
Yeah, like, what the hell is that?
It's not devastating. She's not Wrath. She's not in WCW. It's a shitty pump handle, weird sit-down thing. She needs a new one. I think the stretch muffler should be her finish.
Going back there with that kick to the face, did she really lose her facial piercing, or are we just...
Yeah, was that blood? Did anybody else notice that? That first nasty kick from Asuka to Rhea?
The piercing did disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah, her brow piercing, and she was...
And then
bleeding.
she gave Asuka quite a few receipts, guys. I don't know if anyone picked up on that. She didn't look very happy.
Well, that seems to be a theme for Rhea Ripley, because I remember like her last match in NXT, her ear was torn apart.
Well, I mean, I even said the same thing there. If you're going to show up in a ring like that with ears gauged like that...
Be
I'd
prepared.
terrified.
Be prepared.
Yeah, like you're going to get fucking... Something's going to get caught.
Bottom line, and anyone else who wants to go next, I didn't hate the match. I thought the match was very good. I just didn't prefer it to night 1. And new champion. I'm shocked that we have 2 new women's champions. I didn't think they were going to pull the trigger on Belair. I really didn't.
Oh, I
we
knew
got-
right away they were going to pull the trigger on Belair because it was, I mean, really, she was the big fucking promo. Like she was the one doing a lot of. They were putting her up front and center. Like this is the time. You know, like we're going to change that out because Sasha's been doing it for a while. You know, she's been champ for a while, and like there wasn't really anywhere to go with her. So it was like it's obvious it was going to be, you know, it was going to be Belair at the end of it. The only thing with the Belair thing that I have small issue with it. She's really talented, right? She can lift heavy motherfuckers. I mean, like I saw her carry Otis once. You know, like she could, you know, she's she could do some power stuff, right? For being such a small person. I think it's time to stop with the hair shit. I think the hair
She has.
shit.
That was the first time she had done like the hair whip thing in months. Like I think that was the first time she had done it since being called up.
I don't think she should ever do it again. It's time to just fucking retire that shit because it throws the pace off of matches. Like, I mean, when she used to do it a lot, when she used to do NXT doing that shit, it would literally, like, the match would just stop and it would just be like, okay, now it's the sequence where I whip you with my hair and you sell it. And it's like, I mean, I get it. It sucks to get whipped by that goddamn thing, especially when you saw that big fucking welt on Sasha's side. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't like that fucking move because she has so much other shit going on. You saw, like, the way she was carrying her up the stairs like a bag of goddamn potatoes. It was like, have her do more of that shit. That shit was fucking cool. You know, the hair shit was like, I don't know. It's like a little too... It feels weak for someone who could do really good power shit. You know,
I don't know. At one point, though, like even in tonight's match, so you had Riley and Osaka. At one point, okay, so Riley's on Osaka's back, and all she's doing is batting around her hair,
Fucking Riley.
talking shit.
Osaka.
And that happened for more than 30 seconds, and I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on here? Like. Guys are kind of playing with each other at this point. Get them and fight.
I get the mocking her thing, but that was kind of like, all right, why did you just the match for that? You know, I'm like,
I feel like it was a time filler, and they didn't know what else to do, like at that point. But also, like, I really feel like she lost her brow piercing. After that kick.
Oh, yeah, it was gone.
Because, I mean, she got off stage and was like, holy shit, inspecting her own face. And like, I was like, dude, something ripped out of her face just now. And then got back up got back into the ring. And, you know, like, yeah, well, yeah, of course, you know, and so many chains and everything, too. There's just so many factors of, like, getting something caught in that shit.
Also, her tits almost fell out because the little chain on her top fucking broke.
I didn't notice that either. But
there was a few times where they had to move the camera away and do a few things because let's just say she broke her outfit.
No. that was one thing that Travis nor I noticed. But the whole brow thing though too, I was like, dude, she definitely like she's bleeding. And you know, like I think that's what threw it off a little bit too. Like I don't think she was supposed to actually go off the ring after that kick. Like she definitely slid off there and like inspected herself, like because you know it was just like holy shit, like yep, that happened.
Yeah,
motherfucker.
Altogether they were pretty good matches. I mean, I think both the SmackDown and Raw Women's Championships phenomenal matches. I think for sure though, you know, they weren't gonna outdo Belair and Sasha. I mean, the main event of night one, they weren't going to outdo that match. That was a really good match. I think they did the right thing having that main event night one, especially just because it just makes me happy because they finally, you know, kept their word for the, you know, the whole win the Rumble main event mania type thing because they almost never do that half the time anymore, so that made me happy. And I'm a huge Rhea Ripley fan too. I mean, Travis, I think you know that as well. I'm a huge Rhea Ripley fan. I have been since she's been in NXT. I'm glad they did the right thing this year because I mean I feel like she should have beat Charlotte last year. So I mean this one, you know, it kind of feels like they're throwing her a bone, like hey, we're sorry we did this to you last year. Here, have this. But either way, I'm excited. I think I think no doubt we're getting Becky Lynch on the Raw after Mania tomorrow to confront Rhea about the title that she never lost. I think that's easily what they're going to go with next. But I'm excited to see.
Oh, sorry. Well, I don't know. The thing that you have to remember was after she lost. This is just a little anecdote. After she lost at WrestleMania, they jobbed her for like a couple of months on fucking NXT after that. Like they had her lose a lot. Like they really fucking pushed her down fucking hard. So tonight was kind of like a culmination of like that fucking redemption arc. Like, oh, finally, like fucking something.
Yeah, I also want to give credit to the fact that we technically have 3 new women's champions because Raquel Gonzalez beat Io Shirai at NXT Takeover, and I think that was a good choice. I think Raquel was a good option.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
I'll just say this: Sasha and Belair was great, amazing. Bianca, total star from the very beginning. Sasha 0-6. Sorry, or 0-7, whatever she is now.
0-6, I think.
Yeah, it's 0-6. I saw the Undertaker meme.
It's kind of crazy. People want to complain. Why is she always losing at Mania? Because she's always walking into Mania with a champion. Let's just point that out. She has. Besides a couple times when Charlotte was.
No! What I love was that they, like, immediately after that fucking match, it was just someone took the picture of Belair and just put Charlotte right behind her, staring at her. And I'm just like, I'm expecting like in the next like hour, it's gonna be Rhea Ripley with Charlotte behind her too, because I think Charlotte's coming back for all of it. She's gonna take it all at this point. They kind of screwed her out of fucking WrestleMania, so it's like, all right, yeah, well,
And for like Rhea Ripley, it's definitely like I actually agree with Colin. She should have won it last year. This is definitely her redemption.
Yeah.
And for Asuka, I won't even mention the live performance, by the way, because I just don't even want to go.
Well,
there.
Asuka, here's the thing with Asuka is that she like that injury she got from Shayna Baszler with her fucking teeth. That's actually going to be 6 months of fucking recovery and surgeries.
Yep.
So she's going to be in and out for a little while.
Yep.
So it made sense for her to drop it because it's not like she's going to be consistently there. Because I mean, if anyone's had any massive oral surgery before, that shit takes a long time to fucking like get through, especially if you have to do multiple surgeries to do something. Like I had to do that myself. And,
I'm sure Cesaro can agree with you because when he busted his mouth in that match a couple years back.
Yeah, he was gone for a little bit, but it was one of those things where I mean they still had to work. Like once they got like shit in, they gave him a mouthpiece and it was like fine because like we're not gonna have you talk anyway. But with Asuka, it's kind of like well, there was actually more extensive damage to her face from that. So it's going to require like at least I think like 3 surgeries. Like she had one already to put temporary shit in, but like she needs a couple, and it's like she's probably not going to be back for a little while.
Couple months.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it probably like SummerSlam. She could probably come back and do some shit, but even then she'll still be on the mend.
Yeah.
But for the last thing I want to say about Asuka is, she's definitely went downhill since her undefeated streak. But to me, she can work with anybody, and I mean anybody and everybody. She works great matches with. I mean, she at least put on something decent with Nia Jax. I mean, that's saying something, right? So this was a decent match, and it just goes to show you, again, Rhea Ripley deserved it, and Asuka gave her best before she leaves.
Yeah, well said. Main event time, guys. Night 2. It is the end of WrestleMania weekend. The big dog, little guy, and old metal guy going at it. Three guys a year ago. If you would have told me to be main eventing WrestleMania this year, I'd have called you crazy. But here we are. 3 guys whose careers were expected to be over are not. This is a good match. This was by no means my match of the weekend or match of the night. I mean, look at some of the bangers we've seen on this WrestleMania. But this was exactly what I thought it would be and exactly how it should have been booked. You guys can disagree with me. I wanted Roman to retain, leaving this match, and he did. I think everyone pretty much knew Daniel Bryan wasn't winning the title. I think that's a fair assumption, right?
With Daniel Bryan, I believe his contract is up very, very, very soon. So, him saying, "Oh, this might be my last WrestleMania," it pretty much is because he already just announced that he has a backstage job now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like he's kind of done. So it's like kind of like his big last hurrah, and he did really, really good. Doing that, and like, I mean, like Daniel Bryan always brings it when he, it's like A game time all the time with him.
I think WWE booking him on this was a thank you for your service type deal, and I think we're going to get the rematch with just Edge and Roman, just one-on-one at, probably at the next pay-per-view.
Because I think based on the ending, where they put Edge on top of Daniel, because for a second I thought, well, like, oh, well, aren't they going to count Edge because Edge is on top of Daniel? And I think that's kind of the route they're going to take. The Edge is basically going to be like, hey,
his shoulders were never pinned.
I pinned Daniel Bryan. Yeah. I should be champion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's also the limited contract with Edge. It wouldn't make sense to put a title on him when you only have him booked to do, I think it was like 3 matches a year for 3 years, something like that. Like it's a very limited contract of how often you're going to actually have him actually wrestle. So if you're going to give the title,
added more to it. By the way, I just want to point that out to you.
I've heard the same. Yeah.
The thing is, I haven't really seen it. Like he's only wrestled twice this year, 3 times maybe. So
he was injured for a good portion of it because he had that injury from the quote greatest wrestling match ever that he had to deal with before coming back at the Rumble.
Yeah. So it's one of those, but you're still dealing with limited dates on that. So it's one of those things where it doesn't make sense to pull the trigger now. Exactly. I mean, like you could do a big thing because here's the thing: you need to sell these other shows. WrestleMania might be the big thing, but they really want people to subscribe to Peacock and do.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if you saw, but I mean, they advertised during the show today that they're doing it. It's not Backlash, it's WrestleMania Backlash. That's the name of the show that they're doing. I believe May 16th,
That's
May
weird.
8th, one of those 2 days.
That is weird. I don't like that.
So I mean, if I think they're for sure gonna have Edge versus Roman at that show, 1-on-1.
Yeah, I think it's more of like trying to appeal more to normies who are watching Peacock, because people who have Peacock are not really like wrestling fans. They're people that like The Office, so they kind of want to go, "Oh, WrestleMania is a big deal." They know the name WrestleMania, so I'm waiting for WrestleMania SummerSlam and WrestleMania Survivor Series.
This show closed out with the heel, the big dog, retaining. I like the match. What did you guys think of this match? Optic, good.
I'm totally fine with that because Roman has really been bringing it character-wise. Like we're talking like this is the Roman. Like if you were saying like fucking 3 years ago, like Roman Reigns would be an incredible fucking heel. I would have been like, you're fucking crazy. Get the fuck away from me. Well, why are you in my house? It's just these fucking. It's just like taking this whole thing. The way he fucking sold to the crowd that was saying Roman sucks.
Yeah.
And doing that kind of shit. It was like that is a character. That is what you put money on right there. That's the guy you hang shit on, because that dude worked that fucking character full on fucking heel, being like fuck you to the fucking crowd.
He's filling the void of Brock Lesnar, and that's not just because of Paul Heyman, but he is that ultimate alpha heel like Lesnar was when he was there right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I really think it was a huge thing to finally fucking change him. They were resistant to it forever, and they finally did it. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, seeing that on display, tonight was done so fucking well. And the fact that he did the whole dragging Edge, just dropping on with Daniel Bryan, it was like that's some fucking heel shit right there. Like, you know what? Fuck you both.
Yeah.
Like doing that kind of thing. It was like this guy is a great fucking villain, and you want to ride that. You want to ride a good bad guy out for a while. You don't want to overexpose him, but you want to ride that out for a while. You let him hold hold on to that shit so that whoever fucking knocks him off that fucking perch, that person's going to be fucking huge.
Same thing they're doing with Lashley right now, which I thought was a great call to let him win in the way he did. Shocking, and he needs to not lose that belt anytime soon.
Yeah. But I mean, with Lashley, it was one of those things where everyone was like a foregone conclusion. Oh, it's gonna be Drew again, so he gets that pop in front of a big crowd. But no, it's the chase that people get into. That's the stuff that people get invested in. Is the chase to do it and building up that bad guy as this big, thing to be defeated. And having both the heels go over, you're like, all right, we could do more business with this instead of having an ending to it. Usually WrestleMania is used as an ending. I think it was a smart move to continue it because now you have Edge. Edge has more of a purpose to go after the thing, especially since he kind of turned heel during this match. He started kind of getting a little frazzled, a little fucking crazy, and he was having little things where like here and there to the build up where he kind of was getting a little heelish about shit. And it's like, oh, so you're going to have this dynamic of just like Edge getting fucking crazy, wanting to take down this big, bad guy. And it's like, all right, there you go. There's your fucking, that's the rest of your year right there. You can go totally to the next Mania doing that stuff.
I agree. 100%. TJ, if you're still there, what did you think of the main event? Colin, what did you think of the main event?
Natalya's got great boobies.
Roman Reigns has great tits.
He does. He really does. So does Paul Heyman. I thought. I thought for both world title matches, I thought they were both really good. I was also on the side of they're gonna give Drew the big, win again. So I mean, when Lashley won, I wasn't mad. I was very pleasantly surprised because I didn't think they were gonna, have Drew. I didn't think they were gonna let Drew keep going with or let Bobby keep going with this. So I'm glad they're giving him a chance. I wish they wouldn't have broken up the Hurt Business, but we'll see what things go. As far as this match, once again I was pretty surprised because I had predicted Edge to win, but I kind of thought Daniel Bryan might pull it off as kind of like a shock upset thing. Either way, I didn't think Roman Reigns was leaving champion. So seeing him win in the way he did too, with pinning both of them, really solidified this is a motherfucker to not mess with for sure.
I also called it too when we were watching it live. As soon as Jey Uso got hurt early in the match and taken, I said, "Yep, he's going to play into the finish of the match. He's going to come back." Standard WWE booking in big matches like that when there's an accomplice, a heel accomplice, he's coming back. He's getting involved. I'm shocked we didn't see guys get involved in the fucking cage match.
Yeah,
between Braun and Shane.
Yeah, he just beat him up before the match, and that was it. They never came back.
No, they came back at one point near the end before he threw him off the top of the cage.
That's how memorable that match was for me, I guess, because I don't remember that.
The only thing memorable about it was the breaking the cage to pull it through.
That spot rule. I mean, Travis, this will be no surprise to you.
Problem.
I mean,
Shane McMahon almost blew that fucking spot entirely. When he was climbing down, he was trying very carefully to not go over that section because all of that shit was starting to wobble and bend.
It was pre-cut.
It wasn't that it was pre-cut. The bolts weren't totally in.
Well, so Braun could rip it off easier.
But the bar that was holding it up was probably a piece of aluminum instead of steel like you would usually use. So because you saw it starting to bend and the thing's starting to separate as he's going down. That's why you saw him kind of scooch over to the side because he's like, all right, okay. And then I got to put my hand in the spot. But it was one of those things where he could have totally blown that fucking spot entirely if he just shifted his weight just slightly a little bit more. Would have popped the whole fucking thing off. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, okay, I get you doing these spots, but it's like, come on, man. You could hide it a little better.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially on your biggest show of the year.
Yeah, that's because that was a spot that if they would have blown that, it would have been like you might as well just call up the fucking match at that point because that's your spot, Yeah. That's your setup for the thing to have Shane fall off a tall thing, and that's it. it would have blown the whole fucking thing had he just fucked up a little bit. So it was like one of those things where I'm just like, oh, he's gonna like you could call everything way beforehand. That's why that match sucked.
Yeah.
I think it would have been really funny. I think it would have been really fucking funny if at the top of the cage when they were sitting there standing there, Braun just screams into Shane's face, "Who's stupid now?" But then he throws Shane the other way and he like sends him through the announce table or some shit. But because he hit the floor, Shane wins. I thought that would have been fucking hilarious.
I would mark for that because I think the whole bully storyline is fucking stupid.
It's always stupid when they do it. It was dumb when they did it with Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss. I hate the bully story because it's always with these big ass-kicking giants. I don't give a fuck if people were mean to him in school. I want to see people. I want to see him destroy people now.
People were mean to me in high school. They called me dummy.
Me no get Instagram followers.
Yeah, I think at this point, like, I really think they've damaged Braun Strowman enough to where I don't really ever want to see him again.
Same.
Like, I like
him shitting on the indies online didn't help my stance on him either.
Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, the shitting on the indies and like the whole, hey, when you get a job, like kind of just being a fucking asshole about shit. That was like, all right, this guy's, kind of a dick, with this, because he kind of started in the WWE system. He didn't do the indies. He didn't do any other stuff. He didn't do a lot of the work that a lot of the other guys are doing. So he was a guy. Yeah, he was a guy who was just picked up from WWE from wherever the fuck he was, and they were just like, all right, so that's all he knows. So he doesn't know, the money and the miles of doing, like fucking indie shit, and that kind of it leads to that arrogance that really kind of soured him in my mind. But at the same time, but then they started doing this shit where they started trying to give him feelings, like when they had it with Alexa Bliss.
Terrible.
And it was the whole like, oh, Alexa Bliss might have a relationship with him. They care about each other very much. And it's like, no, that's not what you do with this guy. This is a guy just like a Bray Wyatt. You put him as like a feature role. Look at this giant fucking monster. Watch him wreck a motherfucker.
Pretty much.
That's how it should have been.
It's what they're doing with Roman Reigns right now. He's a big fucking deezed up guy. He's cocky. Let him destroy guys. Let him be arrogant about it while he does it. Let him have a cheerleader who's slimy and looks like Don Rickles. And Tannen, it is your turn. Mr. Casual, Sunday night himself. What did you think of this main event? How WrestleMania ended the triple threat for the Universal title? Excuse me.
Oh, you brought up the Don Rickles reference.
I'll never forget it.
So we have Aquaman coming out on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yo, man, Aquaman, bro.
Like, dude, you didn't tell me Aquaman was on this shit.
Look, shit, man. Snyder Cut's going in this deep. With Don Rickles following him? And whoever his hype man is behind him, this is some serious shit.
Yeah. I love how Beth thought that was Bad Bunny that came out again when Jey Uso came out.
Oh, yeah. That made me fucking laugh. I did have to agree with Beth on the fact that, and you could tell the fans were pissed that Edge didn't get it.
Yeah, which just means Roman.
He got the biggest pop of the weekend. Edge got the biggest fucking pop of the entire weekend when he came out.
Which just means that Roman's doing his job that much better as a heel, Did
I think, though, was that a good match?
Yeah.
It was. Oh my God. There was just so much shit happening. Oh man, he's getting some chairs, and then he's stepping on the chair. Now he can't use the chair, and then he used a piece of the chair. Oh man, that 3-man pen was just fucking to me was just like, Jesus, this is happening.
The part where you're like, did they just call it a concerto?
Yeah, concerto. I called that out too.
I popped the piece of the chair
thing. Joke had me busting up. Fucking laughing.
All right, what was your reaction to the piece of the chair thing? Like when he rips the chair away from him, and you just see Edge with the piece of the chair, and he just looks at it, and he's like, "Oh." I mean, it was obviously set up, but the way they sold it, it was like, this is a surprise. Because I mean, you know what was there for this whole reason to do that that submission move. But it was just that moment. It was like you weren't thinking about that because the way Edge looked at it was like, oh shit.
I know, I'm basically a prison ship. I'm gonna shove this in your mouth.
Do you? I know that you love Empire Strikes Back because it ends on a down, right?
I don't clerks me on this one.
I
do love
that's
Empire
true.
Strikes Back. No, it's because it's a very well-made movie.
Okay. Did you like that this show ended with the bad guy getting the one-uppings on a darker tone?
I feel like it makes it keep going. It does.
Yeah.
It does create the more dynamic. We had a three-person match here. And like when you were explaining it to me, though, like I was like, "Oh, there's no qualification. How the fuck is this happening? Oh, there's no disqualifications." I'm just like, "Oh, so everything goes." And then of course, like dude gets carried off by the medics. I even call it
Bad Bunny gets carried off.
Yeah, Bad Bunny, bad quote unquote Bunny gets carried off, and like I'm just like, oh, yeah, well, he's gonna show up. Even Beth called it like he's gonna show up. He's gonna show up later. I was like, oh no, he might be seriously hurt. Who fucking knows? But because you really never know. You really never know.
If you see a wrestler throw up the X hand sign, they'll work that into angles sometimes. But if they do this, that means it's a shoot injury. They're really injured. But they have been known to fuck with people with that. So.
Yeah. And I just like it's really hard to tell.
Yeah.
So I was a little concerned for a minute. I was like, dude, did he really get hurt? Like, I mean, fuck, like
I was like, nah, he'll be back. Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, he
I
might.
don't
And out of nowhere, and it's just like, I think in that match one of the best things that like was when Edge had him pinned, and then fucking he rips the fucking ref away.
Yeah.
And I was just like, holy shit, like that blew my mind. Like I was like, oh, what a twist!
What I don't like is Michael Cole doing the Owen voice. Like he's been trying to imitate it for years. Whenever something like happens where it looks like somebody's injured or something like that, he'll do the Jim Ross when Owen Hart fell.
Oh, the serious.
Doing that whole like, oh my god, like they have
what is this? What is this? I think that was the quote.
Yeah.
It makes it sound like it's more hokey and more put on when Michael Cole does it. I totally agree with that.
It cheapens every moment for me. Where it's like the second he starts doing that, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna see him in like 5 minutes. Yeah,
pretty much. Last but not least, the former Hibiki Pro World Heavyweight Champion, the man who retired as champion, the man who retired Vader, who unfortunately passed away the next day. Logan Myers, what did you think of the main event, the triple threat match for the title?
I didn't get to say anything about Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley. I'm excited and ecstatic for, Bobby Lashley to win the championship. I'm not mad that Drew lost, but, I mean, it could have went either way and I would have been happy. It was the perfect match to start the night off for the crowd and for the triple threat. For anybody to get to say, because I saw this on Twitter that for night one, and I just want to bring this up and see what you guys think. Apparently, thousands of people left before Bianca and Sasha finished.
I saw that.
Apparently,
report.
They did that again. I just read for Roman, Daniel, and Edge.
Maybe they're sick of being soaked.
Shit, it gets late. I mean, it's still on the East Coast. It's midnight around there. Because I mean, I know one of my friends was there.
They're trying to beat traffic.
She had to leave
you got to take
early.
Ubers into play. They're trying to beat traffic. When I went to WrestleMania, there were people stranded waiting on their Ubers because they waited till the last fucking minute. Plus, these people have been rained on for 2 fucking days.
But
also.
I also did see a couple.
You would have seen some of it.
Yeah.
Like usually when you see that happen, like when people used to walk out of fucking Roman Reigns main events.
Yeah.
Like you would see people fucking on their way out, or at least you see them. Yeah, you whatever. But you'd also see people leaving. I didn't see one person give up their goddamn seat.
Every time, I'm such a cheap fuck. Every time I've ever gone to pro wrestling, what promotion it is, I will stay till the very goddamn end because I paid to fucking see this shit, and I'm getting my money's worth.
The amount of money that people.
I don't. Yeah, I don't leave until they're cleaning the.
And especially if you're paying Mania money, fuck.
Yeah, the amount of. Well, here's the thing. It was like extra expensive this year because it was like super limited seats.
It's like a VIP club for fans.
And the thing was, it was all like a lot of those seats were floor seats. So it was like you're talking floor seats at fucking Mania, and you're limited to like this small amount of people because you got to remember the whole upper area was completely fucking blocked off.
Yeah.
So you're talking the amount of money that they paid for those tickets. I do not think people were getting up and leaving early from any of that shit.
Put the prices into retrospect. Michael and I, we went to 35. We had first upper deck seats. Our tickets were $375 a ticket for first upper deck.
But
and they didn't even have upper deck in this one.
Right.
Yeah, so just imagine
they're cardboard people.
Oh, the funniest part was the people started using the cardboard
to block the rain. Dude, if I went to this Mania, I would have stolen so many cardboard people and taken them home. I'm sure people did.
Oh, I would make puppets and YouTube videos. Like that's it. You're starring on my show now.
Logan, the main event though. Did you get the result you wanted at the end of the day?
I think Edge. A lot of people wanted Edge to win, but just thinking about it, since you guys were talking and all, sometimes certain guys, like Edge, for example, is better chasing than having.
Yeah. I totally with Drew McIntyre. I'm always like, the chase was a lot more fun than him having the fucking belt.
Mm-hmm.
Like him having the belt, it was just like, all right, he's shooting with these people, and it really didn't seem consequential. But the whole getting there, fighting his way up and taking on everybody, that whole, I'm like, I don't really like people when Hogan was probably the last champion that was a guy who could have the belts and still be over as the champ, because you have these other people like Bret Hart. Well, okay, Austin too, but a lot of where I connected with Austin was when he was going after motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And it was kind of more than the belt, where it's the belt is the prize, but it's the getting there and the trials that you're facing with the whole thing. And that's Austin McMahon. It was more than just, I got a fucking belt. It's, I want to beat the shit out of the boss. Fuck that guy. I want to go do this. I want to take out this motherfucker right here. That is where I'm most engaged with it. Whereas a Hogan, it was he's a belt. Hey, he's winning. Who cares? It was just hey, cool. Whatever. But as people changed and grew up, a Bret Hart as a champion was great, but it was mostly because of even when he had it, he was still chasing. The glory of things, so him taking on even the dumb feuds like Bob Backlund and fucking Jerry the King Lawler. They were silly. They were pretty fucking dumb. But you're talking, legends of the past that he's going after, because it's sort of building that legacy with that.
Yeah.
Whereas with now, it's they got the belt. They just kind of sit idle until someone beats them. Really, Sasha Banks had the belt for a while, and it was just well, who's she facing? It's just gonna fight Carmella this week, and then fight this person over here.
We talked about it with the Fiend at the top of the show, the very top of this show tonight, going on almost 2 hours, guys. The Fiend never needed the belt, as TJ pointed out earlier. I kind of agree, because all the worst storylines The Undertaker was ever in were usually when he was the champ. It was awful, feuding with Farouk. Fucking, just not good.
Yeah.
Taker was a
Undertaker
spectacle.
Is a feature. Yeah, he's a feature. He's the spectacle. You put him in, the wacky matches with the wacky characters, and you can still ticket just on that.
When he chased the title against Brock and Hell in a Cell and 02 as Biker Taker, that was good shit. I think one of the most overrated WrestleMania main events of all time, and people can run me up and down the coals, I don't give two fucks, is Edge and Undertaker at 24. I think that match is fucking just kind of boring and not worth the praise that it gets, but people love that match. It was another case of Taker going in as champ, and that whole La Familia storyline with Chavo Guerrero, Edge, and Tannen, you're probably what the fuck are you on about? Yeah, it didn't do it for me, Taker, in that role. And but what did do it for me, guys? Because we have done it. We have reached the mountaintop of this monster WrestleMania-sized show. The slam, I almost said the reset button. This has been fucking weird, but it's been...
You off, didn't it? Didn't it? That's why I remained silent here for a second.
It worked out, man.
I just wanted to say one last thing.
No.
For what we were given with Drew McIntyre during the pandemic, I'm not mad about it. I think he was the perfect person to hold the title throughout.
His recoronation will happen soon enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think. This won't
I
be
just
the
want
last
the
time he's champion.
No.
I was still surprised to see fans behind him as much as they were. Just cheering.
I want the chase. I want the chase because I really liked him when he was doing when he got fired originally and he was gone from WWE for a while. When he went to the Indies and really started doing it, he got really goddamn good.
Yeah.
And he was a dude that you could really put a lot behind. And seeing that, I'm like, that's the kind of guy I want in WWE. I want him doing the chase. I want him fucking do. It just like the mountaintop doesn't really matter. It's the getting to the mountaintop.
Yeah.
Because when you had him on top, yeah, it was great. During the pandemic, him being champion, he was good for that. But he didn't really have, because they didn't build up anybody else, and that was always the problem. Was they had a real hard time building up anybody else, so that you can't have credible challengers for that. So when you have a champion like Hulk Hogan, great example, when he was champion, why people were like general public was mostly fine with it was because whenever they had him do a big show, they always put him up against a monster. Or they put him up against someone who's, formidable, or someone
who's not cool, who nobody could possibly fathom cheering until like Warrior or Macho Man.
Yeah, like with Macho Man, it was the war of best friends that people were really they were invested in the drama of that, built for almost 2 years.
We talked about it last year, you and I, literally a year ago on a WrestleMania 5 review. People cheered Randy Savage in that match, almost 50-50 with Hogan, because the way they booked that with Elizabeth, it made Hogan look like a fucking piece of shit.
2 goddamn years they built that.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, at the same time, they built up other people around that, because you got to remember he had a few feuds, with other people during that fucking time. And even then, it was like Earthquake they built up. They built up, like King Kong Bundy.
Tugboat.
They built up, they built up old Tuggers.
Old Tugs.
Old Tug Job himself. They got all these people, built up around it. So a hero is only as good as his rogues gallery. It's why no one really gives a shit about fucking Aquaman. His rogues gallery sucks.
Another big problem with Raw right now is they're sort of lacking in top-level baby faces. So I think that putting it on Drew would have been a mistake. They need to season these guys more. Get guys like Riddle on another level. Get fucking Aleister Black back on TV in general. Just put him back on Raw. I don't think he's needed on
They
SmackDown.
will. I'm telling you, that's where they're going with the Fiend. It's gonna be the Fiend and Aleister Black. I'm telling you.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yes, they could ruin both of them in the same story.
Absolutely.
Before we get out of here, I'm going to go down the line. No, we're not going to do a numbers grade on this time because there's just goddamn way too many of us, and it's too late, and we've gone way long tonight.
And you already know my joke, so.
Yeah.
Zero.
Across the boards, I'll go, everybody, thumbs up, thumbs down on WrestleMania this year. Tannen, what did you think? I know you like this night.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Colin, what do you give Mania?
I gotta go thumbs up.
Logan Myers.
Thumbs up.
Optic, the man behind the plan.
I'm going to go thumbs sideways. It was an uneven show.
You going Zangief from Street Fighter the movie on it?
It was not bad, but there was bad parts that really weighed it down for me.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah. I'm going to give...
The highs were really goddamn high, so sideways like a motherfucker.
I'm going to give an Orange Cassidy thumbs up, where it's almost there at a full thumbs up, but it's just a little...
Just a half crooked joint.
It's so close to being a full one, but...
Semi-flaccid thumbs
I
up.
put the tweet out like 2 days ago. Every time a WrestleMania has a really shitty build like this, 22. 30 didn't have the best build for the most part.
The build really didn't get me excited for any of this.
No. And last year's even if there wasn't a pandemic last year, I wasn't as hyped for that card either like this year. But all 4 of those Manias I just mentioned turned out to be pretty passable and watchable WrestleManias that I'd go back and watch again.
Yeah. I mean, the pandemic Mania wasn't horrible.
No,
it wasn't.
It was just. It was weird. That's really what it is.
Experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was strange because you didn't have the spectacle of it, like the thing that you really expect from Mania. So it didn't feel right. But at the same time, you did have people really, really give their all in trying to make that thing fucking work. And the effort was definitely appreciated in that.
You saw them doing their best acting ever, and like that's what I'm saying. Like to me, it seemed like it was a Shakespearean experience. You actually saw a quiet stage play play out.
It forced them to be more versatile, and to use what they got, which was not much. It was like, okay, we're in the performance center. We don't have a lot going on because there's no crowds, no stuff. So how do we do this? Like, so they had to work more on their character and do more to get that match over. Yeah, it was fucking strange, and yeah, not all of it worked, but they all really kind of learned on the fly to make more of a Lesnar situation. Like, I mean, Kevin Owens once again, fucking MVP of that goddamn show.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Borderline MVP of this one. Borderline.
Yeah. Oh, that's things. Whenever Owens is actually like in it, I'm good with that because it's like Owens always brings. Like I'm really high on him. Like that dude is fucking great.
I think the word that comes to my mind to take away from this Mania, out of all of them, Tannen and everybody, is refreshing. It's so good to see actual fans again and get out of that fucking Thunderdome for once and not have as much piped in crowd noise. We had a good bit on this. It's just refreshing to see them take risks on NXT call-ups from the gate and not just hold them off for 2 years until by then nobody fucking cares anymore.
Hey,
it's nice to see triggers pulled.
On the main card.
And hey, you even got me, who was very invested in it for the first time in how long?
20 fucking years.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it was really cool that they had Priest on the main card and they didn't water him down. They didn't do it fucked up with him.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they put him in with that money. But the thing is, that dude's good, and that dude could be fucking like he's one of those dudes who like if you do it right, which they won't, but if you do it right, that dude could be one of your top guys.
Yeah.
Easily.
I can totally see that.
Easily.
Totally.
If you're careful about it.
Him and Lashley for SummerSlam. Take a risk. Why not? Build him strong for now.
That would be fucking awesome. I mean, I feel they're gonna just throw him in the fucking mid card.
Damian Priest isn't getting any younger either.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, how old is he?
He's late 30s.
It's about average age for WWE people at this point.
Yeah.
It seems like late 30s, like 40s seems to be like the fucking sweet spot for them at this point.
I'm ecstatic.
He's 38.
There you go. I'm ecstatic that you enjoyed this show, Tannen. I really thought you were just going to make fun of everything the whole time. So I'm really glad that you enjoyed it. But what I got to do, I got to really put our friendship to the test. I think the next time you do this, I got to have you watch something from a group called AEW and get your honest thoughts on that.
I'll be there for that one.
Yeah. So I know Colin would. One more fucking time before we get out of here. Let's go across the boards. Logan Myers, where can everyone catch you and all that you do?
You guys can check me on YouTube, Future TV, and on Twitter at LoganMyers144.
Thank you, my man, for coming on. We'll see you down here on this channel in the very near future. Colin Dunn, where can everyone catch you?
Find me on Twitter at OpticDecay. Only thing I don't do anything else. Like I said, I'm on that Brock Lesnar schedule, so I'll see y'all for like Money in the Bank or SummerSlam or the next big show that they do.
I'm not going to yell your name.
Or when Tannen watches AEW.
There you go. I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to yell your name, Optic, because I know it'll irritate you and you'll get a headache or something. So I'm just going to say, OpticDecay. Where can everyone catch you?
You can find me on Twitter at OpticDecay and Broken Optics on Twitch, and I got some stuff brewing, which announcements will be made soon of things, and mostly just keep an eye on the Twitter, and you'll see some stuff.
Excellent.
I really don't have a lot of points I really want to throw out right now. That's about it.
Well, thank all you three gentlemen for joining Tannen and myself very late tonight. I'm slurring, which means it's time to take it home soon. And by the way, check out TJ, who was on and just couldn't quite make it. He's been doing live reaction streams all day, so I get it. Follow him, lawmance_ on Twitter, Kite Man. And you fucking doll baby. You did it. It's in the books. God damn you, Michael, for not being here, but there's always next year, right, Tannen?
Yeah. I really wish Michael would have been here because, I need my poopsie. Not everybody will get that joke.
Thank God. Where can everyone catch you, us,
You
whatever you
can
want to
catch
plug?
me at O'Tannen's Bum on Twitter. You can also catch Travis, of course, here at the Habiki TMD. God damn it.
Nope.
Of course.
I already fucked it up.
God, are you serious?
At the Habiki TMD on Twitter, just here on YouTube, Habiki TMD.
Fucking fuck.
It's
fuck.
not that. I'm putting the word
So
the.
either way, like, watch the reset button. Also, Travis and I are starting to do Let's Plays.
Manhattan
and
Project Part 1 just went up
Manhattan
yesterday.
Project Part 1 just
you
dropped.
could just pass him a note.
I could just pass them. I could just have cue cards ready next time.
How don't you ever do that? I've requested
Because I thought you would take it as an insult.
Yeah, just-
I read better
next
on
time-
cue cards.
Okay. All right.
Damn it, you know I say
you wanna-
exactly what's on the prompter.
Do you want to plug the merch store? You have no
I'm
fucking
Ron
clue where to plug that
Burgundy?
up. Your official Habiki TMD merch, unionsmack.bigcartel.com. That red button down here, YouTube, subscribe. All the goodness, retro gaming, pro wrestling, heavy metal podcast. Terry Bollea horse shit, mixed it up. And all that other stuff. Get over there. Check them out. Logan, Optic, Colin on Twitter. Thank you, Tannen. See you back on the reset
Watch our
button.
fucking Let's Plays.
Watch our fucking Let's Plays and watch fucking Slam Pigs podcast, because next time Michael will be in the house talking about year 1 Hakushi in the WWF. Until then, Slam Pigs podcast, WrestleMania 37 in the books.